I think the reasons for the rise of socialism is essentially, it's not necessarily about migrants. Migrants are a proximate cause. People like to blame migrants because they're different and they're easy to identify. But I think that the main, the deep reason for the rise of populism is that there's a lot of people who are not happy with their socioeconomic position right now, with their economic well-being. They're seeing as their role in the society is being diminished. Maybe their income is less than they would like, and to a large extent, this is because of globalization in general. They are in industries which are declining, and it's easy to blame this on something else that is very obvious, which may have also changed, which may have become more prominent recently, and that would be the increase of immigration. So one example is if you take a black cab in London, typically the driver is a middle-aged or older gentleman who is white and English. And this is kind of the traditional constituency of cabbies in the UK. On the other hand, if you order an Uber on your mobile phone, you get a car driven by a young guy, so someone who is young and probably of immigrant background.
Yes.
And so this is kind of the obvious difference. And it would seem to the middle-aged or older white English drivers that the fact that they have less business is because of the competition from all these new immigrants who are willing to drive people around for less money than what the black cabs tend to charge. But ultimately, this is because of technological change. It is because now it's much more convenient, much easier to call a cab, to order a cab using an application on your phone, rather than using telephone to call a cab, or hailing a cab in the street, or going to a taxi rank and getting a cab, and then paying a lot more for a service which is ultimately not necessarily any better than the service that you get from an Uber driver. And so it's very easy for these guys to respond by saying that this is all the fault of the immigrants. But again, it's basically, it's technological change, it's globalization. And some people are winners of this and some people are losers. And the people who see themselves as losers of globalization and the losers of technological change, they will not necessarily say that this is because of the internet. It's much easier for them to find some other plausible culprits, such as saying this is because of the immigrants. If the immigrants wouldn't come here, everybody would still be driving black cabs. So this is essentially part of the reason why people like this, they become populists and they become immigrant bashers, and they become kind of very vitriolic and unpleasant. And then there are politicians like Trump in the US, or Nigel Farage in the UK, and other politicians in other European countries, who essentially espouse these views and normalize them. And then you get someone like Trump saying that immigrants are rapists and criminals, and that we need to build a wall and we need to deport them and so on. And suddenly saying things like this, it becomes mainstream. Because there is someone in a position of importance, or well, Trump is now president again, or at least someone who has a lot of visibility, who says these things that previously were not seen as acceptable.
That's
and
true.
that basically normalizes these views, and other people start vocally expressing views like this.